Hello, this is Community Unity Now, the D Tycoon Show. This is Bill Morton, President of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, and I am Trudy Leong, Administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Today, we will describe our experience covering the news at the DNC, the Democratic National Convention that took place between August 19th and August the 22nd.
I guess we could start by how we get the news and how we get our information from by way of Freedom of Information Act.
Even before the convention began, we knew about the coalition for the march on the DNC. So I interviewed Fayani Boma Ojani, and he's the spokesperson for the March on the DNC. So he gave a great interview, and we had enough material to do two segments, even that we had broadcast even before the DNC. You could talk about what's the WORT if you want.
Sure. We partnered with the Pacifica Radio Network and WORT in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM, and WBAI in New York, and WLPN Lumpen Radio, which is associated with the Art Institute of Chicago.
Mm-hmm. So in that week prior to the DNC, we wanted to learn more background information because the coalition for the March on the DNC, they were trying to get the permits to march ever since March of 2024. And they kept on could not get the permits. Every they had to fight for every little bit of permits, and
they were denied. They were denied at the beginning, and they had to go to another hearing.
Mm-hmm. They had a court date. They wanted the route that was closer to the United Center. And then the judge agreed with the police, saying that they had to be 2 blocks away. And that was
Maple
Avenue. So that's first is they're at Madison. So then Washington is next. And then they were only allowed to march on Maple.
So they wanted to be within an earshot.
Within sight and sound.
Within sight and sound of the United Center of the convention.
Mm-hmm. So on about I think it was 5 on the Wednesday or Thursday before the DNC, in the week before the DNC, on Wednesday they got they tried to appeal to the judge, the circuit court, and then the judge said that she agreed with the Chicago police that it's a safety issue, that they need to be 2 blocks away from the DNC and march. And then they were not happy at all about that, but at least it was better than what they had before. It was before they were to be in Millennium Park or Grant Park, 3.6 miles away. So they fought until they got to the point where they were 2 blocks away from the United Center.
But they didn't have permission to have amplified sound and stages.
Oh, no. It was actually, they thought they had it. But then all of a sudden, they got the permit. They said that, on Wednesday we'll get the permit, and they thought they were confident that now it was they were all set to go. And then when they got the permit, they learned that they were not allowed amplified sound. They were not allowed porta potties, and they were expecting organizations, over 200 organizations, about 223 organizations. And then people from 23 states, at several tens of thousands of people, I think about 40,000, 50,000 people arriving. And then they were also not allowed one more thing.
Stages.
No stages. So they had to go to court again, asked for a hearing. And then finally on Friday, the stipulations on the permit for no sound stages, no amplified sound, no porta potties. The city of Chicago canceled the hearing, so they got most of what they wanted. They had the amplified sound, and they had 7 porta potties for about 20 to 50,000 people. And at that point, they still did not have any stages. So they were fighting again, and finally I wanted to find out if they would have stages, and then later I learned that they did get stages.
They did,
Yes.
and the turnout was far less than anybody expected. It was, I think, 11,000 roughly, about 11,000.
Yes, and the last day, who knows about the other numbers? Maybe we should ask about that too in the future. And then I wanted to do some background information since the permits came out. Permits are supposed to be public information, so we did a Freedom of Information Act request to the Office of Emergency Management for the City of Chicago, the Chicago Police Department, the Cultural DCASE, Department
Chicago.
of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, which might not be the proper department, but why not try it too, because it is a special event. And then also one more thing. Who was it? The police, OEMC. Think the fire department. Oh, Department of Transportation, the Chicago Department of Transportation. So for Freedom of Information Act requests, we're supposed to get a response from them saying that, oh, we need more time, or they give us the what we requested, or they will respond that, oh, we don't have that information, or they will respond, oh, we are that information is not allowed to be given out, and they would give the whatever reason there is. But we did not receive any response from the Chicago Police Department, the OEMC, nor CDOT. I can't remember if I asked the fire department. Maybe not. But those 3 definitely yes. And for DCASE, they responded. The first they were the ones that emailed us back saying that, oh, please give us 5 extra days. And a couple of days ago, on August 27th, they said, on behalf of the City of Chicago Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, DCASE, I am responding to your Freedom of Information Act FOIA request received on August 15th, 2024, seeking the following. Please send, so this is my request to them, please send all the permits for the coalition to march on the DNC route. The approved route will send protesters west on Washington Boulevard, north at Hermitage Avenue before heading west on Maple Avenue. The protest is set to stop at Park number 578 at Maple Avenue between Wolcott Avenue and Damon Avenue. The protest will be allowed to continue west on Maple Avenue to Damon Avenue before heading north at Lake Street. The march is set to turn east and return to Union Park, where the protest parade is set to end. Please send all the permits issued for requests to use Park 578 and the field at Union Park for rallies on August 19th and August 22nd, 2024, as described in applications to the Park District, which were granted subject to the following conditions: no stages or platforms, portable restrooms or toilets, tents or canopies, or sound equipment must be installed by your organization. So definitely, I sent a FOIA request to the Chicago Park District as well. So no response from them, but from DCASE, this whole prelude was that they are not responsible for permits for a protest.
So out of all these FOIAs that we request that we sent out, how many gave us a reply.
Just in case. The
And-
one that does not have the permits.
And they don't have the permits, and they didn't give us any information either. So out of all of them, we got zero information.
Totally zero.
We have a real lack of transparency here in these organizations.
Yes, in the city of Chicago. Let's go to the funny story.
We were reporting for Pacifica, like we mentioned earlier. And so there was the day before the DNC, we thought there was a media party, a media mixer. And so we're going to go to the media mixer in the big hall at Navy Pier. And so we're going to Navy Pier, and it was a beautiful evening, and we took the scenic route. We were having a great time. And we see all these delegates everywhere. And we're like, okay, what I expect to see all these famous media people or local media people or people with cameras and microphones. And it's all these, dressed up delegates with delegate credentials. And so we get over there and we find out that the media mixer was the night before. So we totally missed it. And we were there with all the delegates, and it was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So we made the best of the situation, and we were hanging out at Navy Pier, enjoying Navy Pier and the ships and the Ferris wheel and everything that evening.
Yeah, Bill took me outside because I did not know that the ships were lined up along Navy Pier. So he said, "That's a ship." I said, "Really? Is that a real ship?"
Yeah, she hasn't seen it before. And we got a nice Chicago skyline. Mm-hmm. But what happened that was a surprise was as we were walking outside Navy Pier, there was a line of police officers on bicycle cops. And then there was white shirt police officers. Then there were other police officers. And then we started hearing drums and chanting. And we were just sitting there on the bench. And we happened upon the first, if not one of the first, march on the DNC protest. I don't know if it was...
it was definitely unpermitted.
It was unpermitted. It was unscheduled. It was a surprise. And we were the only media there because we were the media coming to this media mixer to cover it. Mm-hmm. And that was really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it was... we were trained at You could talk about kettling if you want.
Sure. So what happened was there was a whole group of people, and then this line on one side of bicycle officers were there, and they started making a little shape around this crowd of peaceful protesters, and then there was a fence that was there. And they started moving this fence in around the other way.
Behind them.
Mm-hmm. And then they had these heavy barricades. And so they were starting to circle in. The police were starting to circle in on them. And that's what you call kettling. When the police circle in and crowd and squeeze on the protesters. And the police said... prior to the DNC, prior to this night, that they would not kettle the protesters. It's bad form. It's not good, and they said they wouldn't do it. And so I said, they're kettling them. They're kettling them. The police said they would not kettle him, and they're kettling them. And I said it very loud, so it projected. And go ahead.
And then the police started taking down the barricades, started dispersing, and said, "Oh, back to your previous positions." And then it was a group of the Palestinian protesters. I asked one of the group, "Could you interview with us? We're with WZRD." And he said, "Oh, let me ask someone first." And then he never got back to me. I tried to follow him, but I went back and stayed with Bill.
And I was the only one to speak up about the kettling because I saw it. The protesters, they couldn't see it. They were in their little swarm there. They couldn't see what was going on outside of their crowd. But I saw it because I was on the outer perimeter, and the police were passing me to get in and encircle them. So I had to speak up on it. And I don't know if I made the difference or not, but maybe I did. And sometimes when you speak up,
Sometimes it's one voice that matters. But it was very serendipitous that as soon as Bill mentioned that very loud, and then they started dismantling the barricades, and they started going back to their original positions.
and it was very fortunate we were there, not only because of speaking up on behalf of the people, but we were the only media there to report on it. And we did.
Well, while we were at the DNC, we did run into some of the stars of the show.
Sure, we did. Trudy, well, let's just start. We were at United Center for the 4 days. We were inside the United Center, the hub where everything was happening. We were there, and we had access to pretty much everybody and everything, from the media to the entertainers to the elected officials, the delegates, and the honored guests, everybody. So we were reporting, and who comes walking by with his security detail but Stevie Wonder?
So I ran after Stevie Wonder and asked him if he had a message for the youth, and he responded to us.
He said, yeah, he gave a great message to the youth about we're all God's people, and we should love and protect each other. And it was really moving.
It was, because he really felt it. He was there to give that message.
He was, and then the same day, first day, Vice President Kamala Harris comes by, and she's walking by, and I said, "The next president of the United States." I said it really loud because she had the Secret Service around her. I had to project, and she turned around. She goes, "Not yet," and that was so funny. That was really cool. And so I got the response, and we got it on the record, and we got to air it on the radio. And so that was really cool. We tried to get Superintendent Snelling the same day.
Oh yeah, I did. I ran after him, and then they were really nice. He said, "Oh no." He smiled, and then his deputy said, "No, we're not talking with the press." But they were very, very nice. They didn't push me away or anything. They just smiled and said, "Nope."
And while we were there, we were in a pretty nice place where everybody was coming by, and the Secret Service was all around there.
Yeah, they were right next to us.
And they were very cool. They were very cool. And even the security and Secret Service, they got to know us, and they got used to us, and they'll remember us. I'm certain they will. Reverend Jackson came by. A lot of the speakers on the stage came by, and we interviewed them. A lot of the delegates came by. And then we had a filmmaker come by that Trudy got to interview.
Yeah, it's his name is Noel Braham, and then he has the Oscar Michaud Film Festival. So Oscar Michaud was a black filmmaker that who made about 40 films between the 1920s and the 1940s. At that time, it was very hard for African Americans to get ahead. So he's definitely an inspiration to our African American friends. So he came he was a visitor at the DNC, and he spoke to me about his film festival, and he'll be interviewing with me as well. Yeah. And we did notice too that as we were coming in and going out at night, that there were protests. They were very peaceful, signs and chants, or sometimes they would just stand there. And those were definitely the unpermitted ones, because they were very close, like right on the other side of the street of the United Center, on the other side of Madison Street.
So we had the opportunity to speak with the protesters as well, record their chants and songs, and spend some time with them as well. So we got the both sides of the DNC, the march on the DNC, and we got the DNC proper. And
in addition, we actually got content that the major media did not even cover. We asked those the attendees that interviewed with us, did you see any protests? If you did, if you saw the protesters, how far away were they from you? And if you did see protesters, what were they protesting about? Did the message get through to the attendees? So that was our very important question to ask all the attendees, and they were very good at answering. And this was an angle that nobody on the major media networks covered. But we did record a WZRD news segment about that, and all you have to do is go to our YouTube channel, WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM, and that is our YouTube channel with a lot of our content, those DNC, couple of original DNC segments, and as well as a lot of interviews with community activists.
And it was an experience of a lifetime. Want to thank the Democratic Party. Want to thank the Pacifica Radio Network and our team of nationwide radio stations, other than the ones I mentioned as well, for getting us in there. We had all of the passes we needed to get to where we needed to be to have this experience of a lifetime in Chicago. And one of the questions was, why Chicago? How do you feel about Chicago? We got to speak with political advisors of Bernie Sanders and many other of the top Washington, D.C. politicians. And I got to meet the press. I got to meet Chuck Todd of Meet the Press and in person several times, and that was really cool. So other than fanfare and meeting cool people, we got a lot of interviews, really important interviews. We talked about the issues. We covered the celebration and the nomination, as well as the protests, and freedom of speech is equally as important.
Right. We got the content that was very important that the media did not cover, which was important to us. We want to thank WORT for training us. We want to thank WZRD for getting us in to cover this important content for our community, since it is community radio.
That's right.
And there was something else that really needed to.
Well, we're running kind of out of time, so I'm not going to name everybody we met, but it was really great, and we were there for the big balloon drop as well, and the closing prayer, and the roar of the crowd, and the energy was electrifying throughout the room, and everybody came together, and it was really, really a wonderful thing.
And be sure to catch that DNC news segment that we did, the reach of the protests at the DNC, because we broke it down. How many of the attendees said that they did see protesters? How many said that they didn't? And we have a lot of nice clips in there about what the attendees saw and what they did not see. What
they thought about it and what else they did while they were in the city. It really is impactful reporting that not only us but our team, our extended team did. So wonderful experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been Community Unity Now, the D-Tycoon Show. This is Bill Morton, President of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, and I am Trudy Leong, Administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.